Hey, I'm Ghalia Volt. What do I do? I play drums with my feet, play guitar, sing when I'm doing the one-woman band, and then when I lead my band, then I guess I'll be just playing guitar and singing. I do write all my own songs, and that's about it.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
Brussels.
Okay.
Belgium.
Yeah. I have no idea. Like, I've never been. Haven't had a glimpse into what their culture is like. What was it like growing up there?
Well, you know, it's very eclectic because it's the capital of Europe. But I don't know, not much of a blues scene for sure. But yeah, it's just very open-minded. You get a little glimpse of every cultural, you know, ethnicity. So that was, you know, it's growing up in the capital of Europe. You just get a little taste of everything.
Sure.
At all levels.
Yeah. And as far as music in your household when you were a child, was it whatever was on the radio? Were your parents music fans?
No, we, you know, it was the time of the singles. So we'd go to the market, you know, on the square, on the main square, and just get singles. Now we just grew up listening to everything. A lot of different stuff. And there was like playing records, there was playing CDs most of the time, some radio. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Did you gravitate towards any particular music style?
When I was a kid, I guess I started like, you know, yeah, I liked, again, like the singles, and then discovered MTV, and we were watching the videos and yeah, on MTV. But I didn't really like the mainstream too much. I liked, I don't know, like old French songs, I guess. So then, you know, there's some French hip hop, and I was into like what I thought was punk music until my mom made fun of me. It's like, that is not punk music. And,
what was it?
oh man, I'm embarrassed. I don't know. I mean, just some punk rock. I'm not gonna criticize or say the names because, you know, people like it.
It wasn't necessary. Yeah.
It's not what my mom called punk music. So then she just showed me, it's like, that's the punk, you know. And it was
really?
Like Sex Pistols and The Clash, and you know, with the, you know, she introduced me to the Cramps actually, and I was like 12 years old. And again, yeah, she was just making fun of me, and then I got into it, and then I started like just what I do, and I love music. I just dig and try to find everything, you know. And so
Sure.
at the time we had LimeWire.
Yeah.
So I just downloaded a bunch of stuff. Then I discovered The Damned, you know, MC5, and a lot of garage and real punk bands like I've seen, you know, like The Damned.
Yeah.
Back then, you know, I saw them in London, you know, and then I got into psychobilly music. And that brought me to love rockabilly until I understood that rockabilly was just really based on jump blues. So I got into jump blues, and then, you know, jump blues, I discovered the blues and everything that was related to it, like gospel work songs and all of that. And
when you were picking up on, you said like French hip hop and stuff, was this stuff that was in the stores? Or did you have to go dig to find that too?
No, like, until I got, you know, to be like on the computer, it was whatever was brought to us, you know, so whatever you could find, and that was that little CD shop on the main square of my little town. I mean, my little town in the city.
Sure. Yeah, that's the way I felt growing up too. I was hinged on MTV nonstop, and that introduced a lot of things. And then maybe I was lucky enough to catch a ride to the record store myself, you know, and go check out some tapes. And even then you were just kind of rolling the dice and basing it off of how cool the cover looked, you know what I'm saying?
I wish I was that cool, you know, like my generation, it was a total different, like we didn't grow up watching YouTube, but it was LimeWire and MySpace basically. So it was just, as soon as we got a computer in our hands, that's how we could find music. And if I went to my library, I wouldn't find records. If I go to the music store, like the one I'm telling about, I was there every Friday or whatever, that was just CDs, you know, there was no record. It's nothing that cool.
Yeah.
That's the 90s, you know, but now we're looking back at it and, you know, in the DVDs, I think one day we'll will appreciate it again. I still love CDs. I have 200 CDs just in my car.
Yeah, okay.
Just in my car, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll help you. You know, if you got to drive to New York, you just play 22 CDs and you're there.
Yeah. I can think back through the ages and the different formats of music and what the artillery you had to bring, like the CDs, you've got the big binder, or like the tapes, you would have a big box. I can only imagine what it was like with 8-tracks. I mean, those things are huge, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate antiquity, so that matters to me. Something that's old is something to be respected in my eyes. And I appreciate the effort that we had to go through in the beginning to find what we found, because
For sure.
I don't know, you kind of earned it a bit, you know?
Yeah, but again, like that would happen with LimeWire. You know, you got to go from one band, it is going to suggest you another band, and then you got to dig it, and then you got to download everything, and then you got to click on everything and go through the songs. It was some kind of digging. It's just another generation digging.
Different type
I'm
of
telling you,
digging.
like way less cool than your
Yeah, but
generation.
nonetheless, you put the time in to find what you like.
Yeah, and like for my age, like I was like listening to some obscure like goth punk, like Bauhaus and like Clarion Simmons and like just some weird stuff that nobody of my age or in Brussels would listen to that kind of music. Like Susie and the Banshees, The Cure, you know, like weird shit like that. You know, it was just like I would go to shows by myself, basically.
Really?
Since I'm a kid, because nobody would want. Yeah, I would sleep at fucking. I'm sorry, I'm cursing.
You can curse. It's fine.
I would sleep at like, you know, I would go to a show like 2 hours away from Brussels and sleep on a bench at the train station. I was like maybe 15 years old.
Yeah.
Sometimes 14, and well, I have some great stories. You know, it was kind of crazy. I'm still alive, so everything went well.
You made it. You made it here today, anyway, right? So you put in time on your own. What was everybody else doing? I mean, was the culture just not as music centric?
Brussels is really hip hop. I mean, at the time, if we talk about my friends,
Sure.
they were into like hip hop and again, like my mom would make fun of us because she's like, "You gotta listen to Wu-Tang," you know. She goes like, "That
Mom was hip.
That's not hip hop." But no, it was just rap, you know, 90s rap, like cheesy. Sometimes it's cool. Nothing against it. Like it wasn't my thing. It was darker. It was just darker. What else they were listening to? Like we call it like 2000 R&B basically.
Okay.
And so same thing with like what you saw on TV back in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's what everybody was listening to. And then when we start going out, like reggae, I mean, we smoked a lot of weed, so that was cool. I went there because my friends were going there, but really the music I listened to, I would go by myself.
Yeah.
So that's what they were listening, more like reggae. We did a lot of drum and bass. That I liked, going to rave parties. I was 12 years old.
Yes.
And again, I made it, I'm still here. I did it for about like, I don't know, like 7 years, and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
When drum and bass hit me or the US or wherever it hit first, I don't know, but when it came into my life, I just felt like it was something unlike anything else I had ever seen.
It's cool. I still like it. Jungle,
Yes.
like jungle music and
Old
drum
school
and
jungle.
bass. I mean, you gotta move. It's like R&B, like real rhythm and blues. You can't help but moving. It's just you got to move.
Yeah, there's a famous sample called the Amen Break, and it's like a 3-second clip of a drummer playing, and it's credited with starting the whole drum and bass genre. It was like the first sampled, sped up, and looped drum track that just kind of launched the genre. And like you, I loved being able to go dig and find stuff. But when I was younger, we didn't have the resources.
Right.
So as I got older and you could literally lose yourself down the wormhole of music, that was my thing. People might be into sports and following football teams and stuff. I'd rather not follow where that linebacker went next year. I'd rather follow Joe Sample from the Crusaders and find out what he did on his own after they broke up. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was more relative to me, and I guess apart from my friends, kind of like you're talking about. But your mom, so what was up with your mom that she knew about Wu-Tang and the Cramps and stuff like this?
Well, back then when she grew up, the shit was cooler, because when she grew up, she was listening to that. again, like she would go out in punk shows and same thing. She would go like, you know, pogo and just dance on Wu-Tang. So that's what she grew up listening to. So, you know, she just didn't like the new shit.
Yeah.
So.
Did it appeal to you at all that it was something apart from what everybody else was doing? These music styles that you were jumping into?
Well, yeah, because I had nobody to share it with since day one. So, you know, like, yeah, obviously it was different. And for the good and the bad, you know, like, whatever it looks, I mean, it sounds cool, or maybe it sounds cool, maybe I'm cool, but, you know, if you have nobody to share it with, you know, I wish somebody would like, hey, listen, I got this band, I got this CD, whatever. So, you know, most of the time, you know, basically you miss one show and then you miss a second show and like, you know what, fuck it, like it's just, I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
And that's when like, I missed like Susie and the Banshees. Well, she stopped touring with the Banshees, but she was doing her release in 2007 for Mentoray, her album, her latest album. And I wanted to go so badly and nobody wanted to go with me. And that, I have two big regrets, right? So that's one. So I didn't go. And then the other one, I couldn't go. It was 2007 as well. It was one of the last shows of Luxe Interior with Poison Ivy, so the Cramps, in a country town in Belgium. And I missed that show, but I was not there. I was in Spain. And I saw Iggy Pop with the original...
Stooges?
The Stooges with the original rhythm section with Scott and Ron Ashton. So that's the trade. But after you miss a few shows and you have these big regrets, then that's it. That was it. That was enough for me. I'm like, oh, I'm going by myself and we'll make it work. And
a pilgrimage, huh? Sleeping on park benches and stuff.
Oh, we were like 12. It was just, don't tell your parents you go to a rave party, so we'd sleep in the subways.
Yeah, right.
I got lucky, you know. Out of all my friends, like I got really lucky with nothing really bad happening to me, you know.
Yeah.
But not everybody is the same way. So, but you know what? I'm glad I did it young. I got out of it young too.
That's the window. I don't have regrets when it comes to that because that's the only time maybe in your life that you would be able to do such a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because, you know, then I was 21, I was playing music, I was traveling the world, and, you know, people that start at 21 going to rave parties is just doing a bunch of drugs and working like a stupid job just so they can pay all that drug and partying. And
yeah,
I was already into something else, so I'm glad it worked out like that.
That's remarkable in itself, too. I don't know how to phrase the question, really, but, I mean, obviously you did well for yourself, so your own form of self-guidance back then was enough to keep you relatively straight, not strung out on a bunch of drugs or not into doing things, you know, crime and stuff like that.
It's weird, like, you know, like if I was a mom, I probably would be like super, like, you know, tired and choking you, like. Yeah. But my mom was my parents very loose, and it was just, you know, if you do good at school, you can do whatever you want. She knew I was smoking weed, and the other stuff she probably didn't know, and you know, the looser she got, the more I'm like, well, I gotta do, you know, the right thing now.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you don't get caught or you don't fuck up too bad, then everything is fine.
Yeah.
But no, everything turned out okay.
How did you do in school? Were you doing?
I was very good.
Yeah.
But then I got bored and I was getting high, but still was doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So you kind of became your own regulatory system, I guess. Kept yourself out of trouble, and that's funny. When did you decide to start into music yourself?
I always played. I mean, I always sang. That's for sure. Since I'm, I don't know, 6 years old. But then I started picking up a guitar. I was 11, and instead of really learning, I just started messing. Like I would play with my thumb, you know, and just writing songs already instead of picking up and learning chords. And so it took me a while because I guess I was lazy or just too high to learn quick, and slow learner. Really, it took me to come here to the United States to just pick up on what I was seeing, you know, while I was traveling.
And when was that? How old were you?
21.
Okay.
21.
And at that point in time, how long had you been?
Well, I've been playing the guitar like for 10 years at that point, but again, like, you know, I would had guitar lessons and I would show up like really high and I didn't learn my lesson from the previous week, so they probably were super aggravated with me. And, you know, I had some experiences, but like, it never was really, you know, as a guitar player, I'm saying. Like when I was 18, I actually started an R&B band, so playing like drum blues and rhythm and blues and early rock and roll. I was 18 and my band was like between 45 and 65 years old.
Really?
And I had like a saxophone, trumpet, trombone. I had like drums, bass, keyboard. It was great. I was
leading. You started a band and recruited all these people? I
didn't start a band. No, like they were a band and they were just having fun, and they came and put an ad in the music store I was working at when I was 18.
Gotcha.
So I was working in a music store back then. And I said, no, you can't put that ad. And they got mad and said, why? And I'm like, because I'm your singer.
Nice.
And they kind of like laugh at me because I was 18 and they're like, you don't know what, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, I know Louis Jordan, you know, Ruth Brown and Laverne Baker and all that shit. And so when I showed up, it became a rehearsal right away. Now what I did is like kind of like they were just having fun. I wanted to play shows. I wanted to grow. So I kind of outgrow the band, like I was, you know, and then we changed the members a little bit too, and so that was the first band. It was really nice.
What was the name?
The Naphthalines. It means the mothballs, I think.
Okay.
Which you put in your closet to repulse the.
Because they were like 60 years old, I guess.
I don't know. I didn't pick that name, so it was Ghalia and the Naphthalines. But yeah, you can see like that. Yeah, but good times, you know. It was just wild. It really was wild. But I learned a lot. And then when I listened to what I used to do, then I'm like, oh, you know, like just my voice, evolved and improved a lot.
I was going to go there. I was going to ask you about how you were, because that was your first gig, how you were so confident coming into that you could walk in a room full of guys that it sounded like seasoned veterans and just be ready to throw it all out there.
There was a woman though, but I wasn't. I don't know. I mean, it's just, for me, it's just life, you know. You just go and then you find out what's up, you know. Okay. I don't think about it before. I don't get that anxiety of going somewhere. I'm just there. I'm like facing a situation. I'm like, okay, so what do we do here? But no, it was just fun. And then learn the songs. You know, back then, like a brain just works way better somehow. Then like I would memorize way more lyrics than now, I feel. But yeah, so it was just really fun and I learned, and then, you know, it's like the master and the learner, or whatever you say.
Sure, the master and the student, yeah.
So then I was like, okay, like I don't want to just get drunk and play for fun. Like, what's the next thing we do?
How long did that take before you had enough? You were ready to move on?
It wasn't like enough of it. Like then I started like on the side of that, like I had like my original songs project, which I called Voodoo Casino. So I would write songs and would perform those songs, and picked a band that was a little younger, and I thought I would want to travel the world and just grow as a band, but they all had a kid within a year. So
oh wow,
all of them.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Good, you know, good for them. Like, you know, we all decide what we want to do, and like, there's no way you can tour the world and have a kid, like a baby born. Instead, if you take it with you, or if you're a dad, like if you're gonna be a good dad and be close to your partner. Yeah. So, you know, so I left that band and I came here.
Hey, have you heard about NewOrleansMusicians.com? It's a place where articles, music videos, interviews, and streaming music from Louisiana musicians can be found. Fans can join free. Music business professionals can join free too. And Louisiana musicians can join for free as well. It's also the place where Louisiana bands go to network and get free promotion. We've definitely got plenty, like this band. Check them out.
If there's nobody here to undertake, even when the tide's washing darker days.
Yeah. And what did you expect to find here? What were you pursuing? Did you
Well,
have a lead on anything?
Again, like that is not me. Like I don't.
You just
I came here. I never thought I was gonna move to the United States. It just happened. So, I came here, and my goal was to record and to try to jump on stage with everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did in 2014. From New Orleans to St. Louis to Chicago, just I hit the Buddy Guys Jam, I went to St. Louis, I got on stage with some local bands, I got to meet people over there that, say, hey, you want to record a song? I got the musicians, Yeah. And then I did the same thing right here in New Orleans, and I came back home, and I presented that, I think, to Roof Records. I mean, the story is longer, but eventually that's what happened, and then Roof Records said, why you just, because I did an EP here with the Mama's Boys, and then I went back there and I recorded all those songs with my Belgian band, and Roof Records said, but why don't you just go back there and do a full-length album? Mm-hmm. Well, you're trying to do what you're doing over there, here in Belgium, or in Europe. And I'm like, actually, he's right. Like, let's go. So came here, and again, I didn't move here. Like, I just spent like 3 months, and then 6 months at the time, and then 9 months. And then I was just here, and I would go back there to tour. That's when I was like about 22, 23. I would just go back to Europe to tour with that band. And I guess from there on, I was just here and going back to Europe. And again, like I never thought in my mind, oh, I moved here. I just happened to spend more time here.
Sure, it just kind of crept up on you. Now, these cities that you were naming, Chicago and St. Louis and New Orleans, were you picking those intentionally? Because, I mean, they all are rich in music heritage.
Yeah, so I was hitting all the music meccas, like the cities,
right,
and the whole entire Mississippi, At the time, I had no driver license. I would just hitchhike from one place to another, just jump on the Greyhound bus or Amtrak or the Delta Lines. And I wanted to see, like I followed the blues trail, kind of like the roots of every artist that I really listened to. And so when, Monticello, Macomb or like Greenville and all of those places, Como, like Holly Springs, and of course Clarksdale, mm-hmm. Jackson. So I was hitting all those places trying to learn some stuff and get on stage or record. Like first time I sang at the Harlem Mall, like in Jackson, downtown. Like that was, I always remember that night. I was very impressed. I'm just a little white girl, right there from Europe, and I'm coming, singing after all those very talented people over there, and just, just like, well, what is she gonna do? And it was very well received.
They didn't know what to expect, you mean?
No, I just felt, out of place. I was just impressed, like you have all those blues players, like you have those strong singers, females, males, and I was just impressed, because to me, it's like the originate, it's the birthplace of the music I listen to. It's just like, going like to like a super cool punk band and punk club in London and trying to, sound good. It's just you feel like, you're impressed.
Did you feel like the bar was kind of raised, like you expected a lot of you? Yeah,
I mean, it's like, I don't know, just the interaction with the people. You're like, oh, sing, girl, sing it. It's just the interaction is still nowadays is what feeds me, on stage and in general in life. So that was the first time it happened, really. The difference here too is like people understand the words. When you sing in English and in Belgium, like until then, like you can sing a love song, like a heartbreak song, but nobody understands it. They're like, oh, it sounds good. So when you finally hear singing words, not a song, you're singing words, well, you gotta mean it. You gotta, and I think that the beautiful thing about music, you don't have, like when you sing other people's songs or music style that doesn't belong to you, your empathy, what you feel, you can relate into any song with what you know.
Sure.
Like,
you have to be sincere. People can feel that.
Yeah, but like what you lived is, and you perceive what you lived at your level. It's your own reality. So it comes through your songs. And even if you sing something that didn't happen to you, if you can relate to that feeling and express it well, then it's sincere, and then it's going to be well received.
Yeah. So when it came to, I guess, after the time you spent in those towns performing, you decide at some point that you want to make something of your own, a band, an album. Like what occurs to you that you want for yourself to put out?
Right. So then I started spending more time here through those travels. I still, was well connected in Clarksdale, Mississippi, in Memphis, and Chicago, and New Orleans. Just the way I'm still, going to all those places and have all my friends there. No, I just kind of moved here to New Orleans, and I had this band. Was having a collaboration with this band. So it's Johnny Master and the Mamas Boys. So we recorded an album. We started touring, essentially in Europe, like a whole month and a half tours and shit like that. And then here a little bit too. And then eventually this collaboration, we went, separate ways because, it was a whole band already. So they did their own thing.
Sure.
So that's when I did another album after them called Mississippi Blend, which was with Lightning Malcolm, Cedric Burnside, Cody Dickinson, who else? Watermelon Slim, and Dean Zucchero.
Mm-hmm.
So that was more like it was my project. That was the first time it was really like my sound, or the beginning of it. And but of course I was well surrounded, right, with this great cast of musicians.
Sure.
And so that was more like, that's me, my songs, my sound, great collaboration of friends. And then after that, we toured again, both here in the United States and Europe. But I put bands together because obviously, like, Cedric wasn't just going to leave his stuff and go on the road with me.
Sure.
And so that's when I started, like, taking kind of like control of the band. And then after that, pandemic hit. So gotta survive and reinvent yourself. So that's when I used to do the solo gigs at the Apple Barrel and other Frenchman street clubs or clubs in town, and I would play like Stonebucks, and then the tambourine. So I switched a drum set to that setup, and that's how I learned how to play that one woman band setup. And so when everything was closed down here, where in the north it was all right, so I started touring.
Gotcha.
Non-stop during the pandemic. As a matter of fact, at that level, at that point, I actually had never been that successful. Then money-wise, or like even like the one woman band album we released, I was doing really good, and so I never went back to play the clubs after that. I just kept touring, and when it was bad, the pandemic was bad here in the South, it was all right in the North. When it was bad in the North, it was actually bad in the South.
That's
when
funny.
it was not good in the United States, I would just go to Europe and still tour as a one-woman band. And like that, for like those 2 years, it was just, not the first 6 months, right? Like that was actually me learning how to do all of that.
Sure.
Writing songs like that too. So that time was not put to waste, and I didn't get no unemployment or anything like that. I just went out there and worked and made it happen.
Yeah. Now, when you were writing music of your own, I'm trying to figure out how to bring this all together. When you grew up, you weren't listening to the music that is styled like what you write now, right?
No, it's still in me, though. I think even like with the new record coming, I think it's still, sometimes, like, I don't pretend to play blues at all, actually. It's just I listen to a lot of blues. So it comes like all the other music styles that I have in me. It just comes naturally.
It just comes out.
Sometimes it sounds like flamenco. I'm half Spanish, and I listen to flamenco my whole life, and it's in me. Same with like the Doors, or like the Cramps, or like MC5, or any of those bands. Even the Bauhaus thing, the goth punk. Mm-hmm. It's in there.
So what is it like? This is where I was going with that. What is it? how does it come out of you onto a track with music if it's kind of unlike some of those styles that we were all fed, kind of the popular version of when we were growing up? It's like transformative. Do you know what I mean? Like you're writing your thoughts and your feelings, and then you have to find a voice for those thoughts and feelings.
Well,
and how do you choose?
Well, you just don't put a tag on it. You just don't. You don't do that. You don't choose, and it's hard because when you have all those things that you want to do, it's just hard to pick. So you don't pick. You just try to make it a sound. Everything's been done, and if you just try to be another band and try to fit into a category like a tag, like, then you're just gonna be another one of them. If you don't try to do that, it's harder. I'm not gonna lie, it's harder to find what you really, want to sound like when you have all those different. It's just the toolbox, It's just all the tools are in there. It's
sure.
You don't think like, you just use what you need, and what comes naturally. I just don't try to. I just let it come naturally, basically.
Yeah, I understand.
Because the more organic your music is, the it's got to be real, right?
Not forced, yeah.
Yeah, just so it comes out organic and true. It's just, I'm not trying. This is me. This is what I have to offer.
Yeah.
Hopefully it all, makes sense all together, and it does.
What occurs naturally to you first, I guess? What are you inspired by first? Do the words come? Does the melody come?
It's always different.
All different.
Sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a lick, sometimes it's both. Sometimes you struggle finding the music for a song, like lyrics, and sometimes it's the opposite. So just I write 12 songs at the same time. Like I'm crazy.
Okay.
However you call it, my brain is all over the place, and I won't finish a song until the 12, the whole record is done, whatever.
Wow. Okay. And in the beginning, it was you sort of contributing to a project that you didn't start, whereas present day, you're more so, you were the genesis for the project. Do you bring things to the band to sort of fill in the pieces, say, look, this is what I have so far? Do you feel a certain way about this, or do you want to write it like that? Do you look for input?
No, I love collaboration when they come. I feel like lately, there was a touring band, and we toured for the last 2 years and a half, but we're kind of in different places. And, I've never had this beautiful experience like, back then in the 60s or 70s, where you just get all together and like, live and write songs together. I wish. I would love that. I just haven't experienced that yet. So the band is me. When you have a band, and then your band members just leave you because there's another gig, or because of a woman, because I'm a woman. And so like ladies, they all, we all talk about like, supporting each other, and like it's the last thing that happens. And another lady is not going to support your project because her husband is in the band. Or,
sure.
So, like sometimes, women are the worst enemy, and this is actually sexism. But anyway, so it's hard to get together with a band, and I just sadly don't believe in a band anymore, because band members come and, I do all the work. I don't sleep. My brain is working through the night. Mm-hmm. Like I work constantly on my project because it's my project. So I love when, I find musicians that stick around long enough to share like this symbiosis and evolve together for sound.
Sure.
But not necessarily for like the writing process.
Yeah.
But I wish. I would be
in a
up
perfect
for it.
world, right? Okay.
But look, like, how we started this conversation, like it feels like it's been the story of my life since I was a kid. So,
yeah.
It was always like, just.
Well, it doesn't leave you wanting for much anyway. Independence, right? You don't want for much when you're independent because you're not looking for anybody else to fill in those blanks.
I'm not waiting for it, but
right.
if it comes, it's great. That I would love that.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. It's just not there.
You're about to drop an album real soon, right?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about it. Who's on it?
So, the beautiful thing about this album is what we just talked about. It's just no tag. I'm not trying to play a music genre at all. So, it was really just organic. And I went to Nashville and recorded with J.D. Simo, which I consider being a photograph of sound and vibe and music, right? So he just captures the moment, but on a tape. So we recorded all my new original songs, and some were rearranged. He brought up the band. It was Chris Powell and Brian, so the rhythm section over there from in Nashville. And so JD played on the record too, JD Simo. He produced it. We recorded at his studio.
Okay.
And that was in August, so we're thinking of a release in March. Very excited by the project. I play a lot of slide guitar on it. It's got that rootsy vibe, like, because so in between we talked about one woman band, and this new record in between there was a Shout Sister Shout, my latest record, which I recorded in California, and I was looking for a sound a little more polished, which I think we got for most of the songs. But here, that wasn't the goal. It was really more like a rootsy sound record, very real and groovy, and that's those cats, man. Like, they're really super groovy. Like, nobody learned the songs before they came to the session. They just talked about the songs, talked about the feel, and that's what comes out. And a few takes. None of the song is more than 3 takes.
Really?
Yeah, so it's great because it's real, it's organic, it's scary too. 'Cause for me, like, I never did anything like that. There's very little overdubs.
Yeah. What part is scary? Just out of curiosity, is it?
Well, more like I'm a perfectionist. Like, I can't work on something.
So it's kind of
forever.
scary to let something go and say it's done.
Well, just leave control. Number one, like, get full control as far as production to somebody else. Because, when you build yourself up like I did, I have an opinion on everything.
Sure.
Because I don't know better. Like, I'm forced to do that as, independent that I am. If I don't make a decision, then nobody else is going to do it. So when you give up the keys of the store to somebody else, that's frightening. But you got to trust. And until now, it's just hard to find people that share a vision that you can trust. So that's the hardest part of it. That's the scary part. So once you, like, force your brain to be cool with it and get, like, you really have somebody that you can trust to give up all that power and control. And I have very, I love JD's work. I love his vision. I love his sound. I love him as a human being. So it wasn't hard, but it was scary.
Yeah. I understand. What's the title?
I don't know yet.
Don't know?
I mean, I have ideas, but...
Yeah. And you said August?
We recorded in August. So
you recorded in August.
Yeah.
And it's coming out when?
Yeah, we got singles coming out, like, within the next couple of months, starting now. And it'll be released in March, April. So working at the details with the label.
Sure. Where can everybody find your stuff at?
Everywhere. Whatever
like
you got, I got it.
Whatever continent, you're there. You've been there.
Yeah, like, I mean, we have to, right? So I'm on everything you can imagine. Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, Deezers, Pandora, whatever is out there that I have records.
Sure.
CDs, I try my best. But yeah, so all the platforms, all of them.
And
YouTube.
It's all by name. You're blessed with
iTunes, but it's Apple Music now.
Apple Music, yeah. You're fortunate to have such a unique name. Do you have a website associated with your work?
That's right, yeah. GhaliaVolt.com, Ghalia Volt, Volt.com, and everything is up there. You can also just, if you like the records and CDs, they're out there too.
Sure.
Along with a bunch of crazy cool stuff like whiskey flasks and shot glasses and T-shirts and the regular stuff.
Now, not to reveal too much, but before we started recording, you were checking to see what's coming up tour-wise. Did you want to tell anybody? Yeah,
I didn't, there's too many places to make a note of it, but I'll go with the record release. We'll have there's going to be a year tour coming up. So the first 5 months will be a lot of United States. I don't know, I read Indiana, Oregon, Illinois, Tennessee, got probably some Mississippi. Florida's coming too. The Northeast, the Midwest, a little bit everywhere. So it'll be on the website shortly.
That's what I was going to ask. It's going to be posted on the website.
Yeah. It's always up there.
Okay. Well, best of luck to you. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.